My name is Tony Gosler. I'm the fire chief for the city of Santa Rosa. Last night we around 7:30 we had multiple fires throughout the city. Drained our resources very quickly. We had mutual aid come in, and at this time the Tubbs fire was also marching towards Santa Rosa. So we realized early on with the wind that we were battling our own fires, that this fire was going to come into Santa Rosa. So what we did, we did what we could. We ordered up mutual aid early. We ordered up mutual aid early. We established a unified command with CDF or CAL FIRE. And we set up our area, our staging area in the Kmart parking lot in the city of Santa Rosa. And it didn't take long before we realized that that was not a good spot. So we moved about an hour later to our Fire Station 3. At that time we had 3 immediate lead strike teams. We had 25 other strike teams inbound. And it was all we could do to put engines in the right place. We had every resource in the county. We recalled every firefighter in the city of Santa Rosa. And we used every resource to the best of our ability. But with that kind of wind, that fire, I'm not sure when it started, but for us it blew into Santa Rosa right around midnight, a little bit earlier. And by morning time the fire was about 25 to 30,000 acres. So it came in hard. It was very, very windy, very dry wind, and it was very taxing for the entire city. So, with that, I'm going to turn it over to CAL FIRE's incident commander, Brett Govea, and he's going to talk about what they're
Good evening, Brett Govea, incident commander from CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. Incident Management Team 1 was activated approximately 1 o'clock in the morning to come down and support the incidents in Sonoma and Napa County through the night. Ultimately this morning we were assigned the responsibility of command in conjunction with Unified Command with Santa Rosa County Fire and, Santa Rosa City Fire and Chief Gosner in a unified effort to command the incident. Current situation, as Chief Gosner pointed out, is 25 to 30,000 acres, 0% contained. The fire has done a good amount of magnitude of damage, and we are still working with putting our damage assessment teams together and getting them out to accurately document the amount of damage that we have. We've had a great cooperative effort throughout the night from local fire agencies in Sonoma County as well as local law enforcement agencies. Also, continuing effort from the Master Mutual Aid System from the local, state, and federal fire departments up and down the state of California. CAL FIRE would like to urge you to, and the public, to help us with any new fire starts to ensure that we don't get any. As you can see, conditions are severe up and down the state, and resources have spread thin with the massive amount of fires that we have up and down the state. Thank you.
Evening. I'm Rob Giordano, the sheriff here in Sonoma County. Sheriff's office role in this started late last night. We've been supporting fire and evacuations. We had deputies up on Mark West when the fire went through. We had deputies pinned down with civilians and they couldn't get out, and the fire just went around them, so it's been quite harrowing for them. What I really want to get out to the public is please stay off the roads. Please stay off the evacuated areas. We will be making arrests if there are looters. We're already starting to see that problem, so we will enforce the law. Stay out of the burn areas, stay out of the evacuated areas. Bear with us. A lot of highly trained, good first responders working together to keep everybody safe. We are actively trying to rescue people right now. That's the stage we're in. We have 7 confirmed deaths related to this fire so far. That number is gonna change. It's just too early. We can't even get into a lot of the spots, so I don't expect that to stay that way very long. Are there any questions that I can answer?
In terms of going home, a lot of people are starting to do that. Is that against
Yeah, we're not going to let anybody into the burn areas. Every area we control, we're going to keep everybody out of right now because we're trying to keep everything safe, and frankly, most of it's still very hot.
In what area did you find the fatalities?
I actually don't know.
Are you evacuating people now?
When I left the main office 40 minutes ago, we were still doing evacuations down South County.
How are people being evacuated? Are they being notified on their phones, or is it in person?
Phone calls and deputies knocking on doors.
And we're going to take the questions afterwards, so we're going to please keep them up.
Good evening, everybody. I am Mike Palacio. I'm the commander for CHP in Sonoma County. And I'd just like to say that our heart goes out to the friends and family of those who lost their lives and their homes. It's a devastating thing to see what's going on out there. Last night we started answering calls for service on the east side of the county and near the Highway 12 area. And we've continued to do so through the morning hours. We've brought in extra personnel from all over the Bay Area to help assist with road closures and calls for service and evacuations and medical aid and all the various things you can think of, our aircraft to view things from the sky and get a better perspective. It's been difficult for everybody, and our allied agency partners and both fire and police have been outstanding, and I can't thank them enough for their true professionals. We're trying to do everything that we can to keep the roads safe for everybody, but as the sheriff mentioned, please, if you don't have to be out on the roads, don't be out on the roads. It's going to take a while for things to subside and for the roads to become safe again. The closures are minimal at this point, but for a while, a long time there, we had the major arteries, 101 and Highway 12 closed. They're now reopened for the most part, but again, there's still a lot going on. Please drive safe and within your means, and don't drive on the roads unless you absolutely have to. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce the acting chief for Santa Rosa PD, Craig Schwartz.
Good evening. My name is Craig Schwartz. I'm a captain with the Santa Rosa Police Department, currently the acting chief. As the others have all said, this incident started for us about 17 hours ago when we first got notice that the fires were moving rapidly into the city of Santa Rosa. Since that time, the Santa Rosa Police Department, along with our fellow law enforcement officers throughout the county and the region, as well as firefighters, have been engaged in continual evacuation and rescue efforts. Those efforts are still ongoing. We do still have new fires flaring up within the city, and our officers are continuing to go around and evacuate people from the affected areas, and when those people are unable to get out of the area, going in to actually try and perform some rescues. It has been a horrific and terrifying night for a great many people, and we ask that as we continue with these efforts, like the others have said, stay out of the mandatory evacuation areas for your own safety, as well as for the safety of the first responders who have to go in and try and contain these fires and rescue people inside the areas. To that end, the City of Santa Rosa, through the City Manager's Authority, under an emergency declaration, has enacted a curfew for the mandatory evacuation zones from 6:45 p.m. sunset until sunrise. Anybody who is out in those hours in the mandatory evacuation zones will be subject to stop and potentially arrest if they refuse to either go back inside or leave the areas. In this case, they would have to leave the mandatory evacuation zone. That's for, like I said, the safety of the people in that area, as well as the safety of the first responders, and allowing us to get through and try and get the situation under control as efficiently as possible. And with that, I'd like to introduce the Santa Rosa City Manager, Sean McGlynn.
Good evening. I just want to take a chance to thank the citizens of the city of Santa Rosa for the resiliency they've shown in this very, very trying and difficult time, and also to acknowledge the astonishing work that our public safety team has done over the last 17 hours. When I stepped into the situation at about 3 o'clock this morning, we had to declare a local state of emergency. Shortly thereafter, the county declared a state of emergency, and then we had the governor declare a state of emergency for the county. I would just be remiss without also acknowledging all the hard work and all the support we're getting from across the state as people come here and deploy and assist us in this very, very difficult and trying time. But I will tell you, the men and women of the city of Santa Rosa are committed to seeing this through and helping everyone they can. And what I would say is, I would urge the citizens of the city of Santa Rosa to go to our website, srcity.org, and connect with us as we get information out about this dynamic and ever-changing situation. Thank you. And now I'd like to turn over the podium to the mayor, Chris Corsi.
I'm Mayor Chris Corsi, and first of all, I want to acknowledge that I'm as frustrated as all of you at the scarcity of information that we have at this point. I want to know how many people have died, how many people have been injured, how many people are in shelters, how many people have been evacuated, how many structures have been lost. It's frustrating. On the other hand, for the last 17 or 18 hours, our personnel have been out there doing the job of saving lives, and that's got to come first. There will be time later on to measure up the damage and count the numbers. I want to just say that my heart goes out to everyone who has suffered loss in the last day or so. I'm lucky. My house is fine. My family is fine. My city is not. And it's going to take a long time for us to recover what's happened today. I'm really glad to have the support of our local, our county, our state and federal partners. We're going to need you as we go through this difficult time. I also want to say that Santa Rosa is a strong city. We're a resilient city. We're an indivisible city. And we're going to need to hang together as we go through this. Thank you. Next up is Board of Supervisors Chairwoman Shirley Zane.
Thank you, and along with me is Supervisor David Rabbit. I want to assure our residents that it has been all hands on deck since 4 o'clock in the morning when we opened and began to operate our Emergency Operations Center. The amount of people that have come together to work on this is truly amazing. And I will also tell you that I'm devastated in terms of what I've seen. It is beyond belief. And as the mayor said, I think a lot of us who are in elected office are frustrated right now because we so want to care and minister to the people that we love and serve. I did spend some time out at the evacuee centers today, this morning and this afternoon, and of special interest and concern for me is the many seniors who got evacuated from assisted living and skilled nursing who need medication, additional oxygen tanks, and other and have other very fragile medical needs. I will also tell you that I spoke with the Senator Harris's office this morning about some of those needs. I am very encouraged that the state and the federal government is here being represented and that they understand the devastation that we've experienced. And we are a resilient county and we will come back from this, but right now we need to grieve because the loss is significant. And we promise you, we will try and get you as much information as we can through multiple means. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague, Supervisor Rabbit.
I just want to give a shout out to all the brave men and women who are manning the lines out there and battling these flames. I also want to thank the men and women who are protecting them and protecting property, protecting all of us in law enforcement as well as all the emergency technicians. I also want to say, as the city manager mentioned earlier, the resiliency of this county is amazing. I was at some shelters or some evacuation centers in Petaluma earlier today, and cars were lined up delivering goods. So people's hearts are big in this county. They want to step up. We look forward to moving forward together, rebuilding together with the help of our state and federal partners, and I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
And now I'd like to introduce our Congressman Mike Thompson.
Well, I'm Mike Thompson. I represent part of Sonoma County. Jared Huffman represents the other part in the United States Congress, and Jim Wood, our assemblyman. And I just want everybody to know that your state and federal partners are going to be working overtime to make sure that we're there to help in any way and every way we can. As you've already heard, the governor's declared a state of emergency. That's been forwarded to the federal government. It rests with FEMA right now. My office has been involved with FEMA and been pushing them to make the declaration. So far, they've approved the federal fire assistance grants, which will help a great deal. But as this progresses, I fully expect that we'll be getting assistance from FEMA in the way of public assistance, which is going to be very, very important for our state and local government partners, and individual assistance, which will be assistance for those individuals who have suffered a loss of property. There'll also be, I'm assuming, low interest loans that will be available. I was in the helicopter today, the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department helicopter, took a number of photographs. All of those have been sent both to FEMA and to the White House to make sure that they know how serious this is and how devastated our community is. And I look forward to continuing to work with the community, and a special thanks to all the firefighters and all the sheriffs and police officers. They've been doing a fantastic job, along with all the local government employees who've just been working 24/7 on this, and all the fantastic volunteers. Thank you.